So now that we learned about functions, I want to come back to values. And specifically, I want to come back to objects. As you should already know, objects in JavaScript can be used to group multiple values together. So for example, if I have a user name, which could be Max, which typically of course would not be hard-coded, but might be fetched from a server or from some HTML input on the page. And I have a user age, let's say, of 34. I could group these values together in an object. So that instead of defining them like this, I could have a user object, which is created like this by using opening and closing curly braces on the right side of this equal sign here, like this. And then there I could have a name property, as it's called, and an age property. So I have key value pairs where the keys are up to you, but should follow the naming rules you already learned about. They also should, of course, be descriptive. And then separated by a colon, I have the value that should be stored under that key. Now this object could be used to output it in the console, for example. If I refresh this page here, I would see my user. And in this JavaScript console, I can actually also explore it. But I can also access individual fields of that user object here, or of any object, by using the dot notation. And then, for example, I can just access and output, in this case, the name field. So therefore now, if I reload this to get rid of the error, I would see Max. And this dot here is the key to accessing values in an object. You use this dot notation to get access to a value in an object. Now, besides key value pairs like this, objects can also store functions, which we then typically call methods. For example, here, I could create a greet function like this without the function keyword, just the name of the function you want to have, followed by the parentheses, which could accept parameters if you wanted to, and then your curly braces, and here you can return something, or for example, simply console log something. And then you could access this again with the dot notation and execute it like any other function by adding these parentheses here. With that, if I reload this, I would see hello here. Now, if you are in such a method, so in a function that belongs to an object, you can also access the properties of this object, so the other methods and fields that belong to this object, with help of the special this keyword. This would, for example, allow me to output the age here by using this, which refers to this object, dot age. And with that, if I reload this, I would output the age here. The this keyword won't be too important for this course, because we won't create too many methods here, but nonetheless, it is a JavaScript concept you should know. Now, when it comes to creating objects, you can either create them like this to group values together, or you can create blueprints by using the special class keyword. This is also an approach we won't use too much in this course, but I briefly want to mention it here. With the class keyword, you can create a blueprint that can then later be used to create the actual objects. Here we could create a blueprint called user, like this. And what's important here is that for class names, you should start with a capital case character. And then here you could, for example, add your methods that should be part of that blueprint, like this. In addition, you can add a so-called constructor function by using the special constructor keyword, which other than that is written like a normal function though. And you can use this constructor for accepting parameters, input values like name and age, for example, and then store them in properties of the object that will be created based on the class with help of the this keyword again. So that's how I would create properties named name and age, and store the parameter values name and age in these properties. Now, by doing that alone, we won't achieve anything yet. Instead, we can now use such a class blueprint by instantiating it with help of the special new keyword, which creates a new object based on that blueprint. And then here I could pass manual and 35 as values. And if I now console log user1 here, I would be getting an object, this object here, that is based on this blueprint. So this object here is based on this blueprint. And therefore it contains the values I passed as input parameters to this constructor here. That's how these things work together. In addition, this user1 object would now also have a greet method because I defined the greet method here. So that's where this hi is coming from. Again, we won't use this class keyword a lot in this course, but you should know about it. But with that, that's it for objects. I'm going to comment out this code here. And we can continue with the refresher for the next concept.